everyone, welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're doing another indie horror spotlight. Today I have with us, he's a director, and this guy's pumping out short films like crazy. He has two new ones out right now that's on his Patreon. One is called The Doll Collector, and the other one is called the Pandemic House of
Bones.
Bones, yes, Bones. I have with us.
I did a casting call for a film called Charnel House. And I had no idea. Have you ever heard of a charnel house?
No, what the hell is that?
Charnel, Charnel, Charnel House. And I think it's where I don't know if it's a crematorium or what, but it's really a house of bones. It ends up being, a place for bones. Well, nobody, if I put that in my title, Pandemic Charnel House, nobody knew what the hell I was talking about. So I changed it to Pandemic House of Bones, and it worked out a little bit better.
I'm gonna say I'm a mortician by trade, and I don't even know what a charnel was. So I don't know. So that would confuse everybody. But listen, everyone, I have with us Logan Fry, Lone-Buzzard-Filmworks. Logan, welcome to the Horror Realm.
Thank you, Travis. I am so happy to be here tonight. I'm stoked for this. I've been waiting for weeks.
Oh man, listen, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on, man. And listen, it's gonna be like I was saying before, man. It's gonna be it's gonna be the best interview you ever done. Now, tell us a little bit about The Doll Collector. I like that title.
Well, sometime back, I've done both directing, but I've also been a background actor in film, simply because I'm not that good an actor. So I just end up doing acting. But there have been great films like Spider-Man 3, and I've been in some TV shows like Succession, some great Wizard of Oz, the Wizard of Oz, the more recent Wizard of Oz. So I was in a film was my head is going bad on me already. I can't even remember the name of the film I was in. But anyway, it was by a British filmmaker, Adam Neville, and I was intrigued by the No One Gets Out Alive was the name of the film and the book that he wrote. And then I started reading some additional books, and one was House of Small Shadows. And he has a funny way of writing. I shouldn't say funny, but he has some peculiar ways of writing, and he often writes in just phrases rather than full sentence and paragraphs. Mm-hmm. So there was one there was one phrase that really struck out to me, and that was and I better not even try to do it, because my wife said I shouldn't do it because I look funny. And now here I am. I've been practicing this for weeks, and I can't remember.
You're here.
That's the trouble with being as old as I am. Your mind just starts to go. Body parts fall off. Your mind goes, oh.
Look, listen, as soon as I hit 40, man, I realized, like, I used to have I could spill shit out like that. Boom, boom, boom. As soon as I hit 40, man, it seems like, it starts deteriorating the older you get, but as soon as I hit 40, it's like things, I'm like always pausing, like, what is that called? And I can't even think of the word I wanted to say. It's bad.
I'm twice your age, I'm 80. So I'm two of you, almost age-wise. Mm-hmm. So if you're having problems at 40, imagine what an 80-year-old man is going through.
Logan, I'm sorry for you, man.
Yeah, it's true. I still have a few functioning parts, and they're the important ones. But other than that, it's just my back, my knees, my shoulders, everything else is. You wait, you'll be there.
I'm looking forward to it.
So anyway, one of the books was we're getting back to the doll collector. One of the books was House of Small Shadows, and he had a scene in it, and it was this M.H. Mason, I think was the name of the person who had the house, and he's deceased. And there's a woman coming in. I don't know if she's an appraiser or she's putting together an auction, but his house was full of these dolls and puppets, and he would put on and marionettes, and he would put on these little film plays, just short little things. And there was a scene where the puppets come to life, and I can't remember if they murder a real person or just another puppet. Mm-hmm. And anyway, the idea of dolls or puppets coming to life and committing murder was a real appealing idea to me. I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's been done oodles of times before, but I had to do my own version of it. So it basically it's sort of like a politician that some may know, who's really self-obsessed, is always talking about himself, and and he eats hamburgers, just stuffs them down, and soft drink, and some of you might recognize him, maybe not.
What are you talking about? Yeah, I'm joking.
I can tell you who this guy is. I mean,
I know
he's on TV tonight right now. I got to tell you,
we're missing
that right now. So I even had the blue shadow on my eyes and everything because I'm the doll collector myself. And I'm just going on about how great I am, and I'm eating stuffing food in my face, and I'm telling the dolls, why can't you be like, I'm telling the clowns, why can't you be like the dolls and just tell me how great my hair is, and my wonderful house, and my tailor-made pants. And then he says, and you clowns, you'll never be president. Why, you can't even stand up and pee. Well, the lady clowns really took great offense at that, and they stood up, and they had, that was it for them. So they came, and they just got their pickaxes, and one had a huge pair of scissors, and they just went after the doll collector, and they just beat the hell out of him. And did a really nice job. And the next shot is just a skeleton laid out on the corpse. I don't know if you saw the whole thing, whether you saw the trailer or whether you saw the whole film, but the corpse was something that had been used in a death metal rock video that was filmed in my barn, and they brought in these skeletons and corpses and hung them from the rafters, barn beams, and they dragged them along the floor. So I took one of those bodies, and I used it in Pandemic House of Bones also. And this time I just cut away all the background and just had the corpse itself, lit it on the Davenport, and that's the final scene. It's short. It's only a couple of minutes. I don't know if did you see the whole thing?
No, I watched the trailer.
Well, the trailer is pretty accurate, except there are two versions. There's the all-audience version, and then there's the version for the kinds of film festivals that really like at least some of my work, the trash film festivals, the cult film festivals, the underground film festivals. And for some reason, if I just have a regular film, maybe it gets in, maybe it doesn't get in. But if I got boobs in it, that's almost a guarantee of success. So in the version that I'll submit to a film festival like Philadelphia, Unnamed Film Festival in Philadelphia, or Beta Fest in Rosas, Spain. They'll get that, and when the lady clowns get up, they're just so mad, and they tear down their tops, and they have boob blasters. Now you wouldn't think that boobs that send that X-ray beams type things like this. You think, where did that come up from? But I found a music video that used that concept. I found Mondo Mike had something in his video. If you know who Mondo Mike is, he's a guy from some years ago. And then there was one other source. So it's something in the zeitgeist somehow that these boob blasters.
Sounds amazing to me.
Terrible idea. Anyway, they come out with the boob blasters, and after they hit them with the boob blasters, then they come up and they beat the hell out of them. Get them up. Now, one of the features.
Is it hard to find actresses
What?
that are willing? I said, is it hard to find actresses that want to show their boobs in the movies?
Not really. You can't. I mean, I was working with some actresses who wanted to be in the film, but when they found out that it would have a topless scene in it, they didn't even want to be in the censored cut version of the film that didn't have it. Of course, there's two versions. There's one that doesn't have boobs at all, and then the other version that has the boob blasters. And so when you put on a film like that, you're going to lose some actresses. But really, I've done a couple things. Other film directors that use actresses that go topless. I found one or two on Model Mayhem. If you've ever heard of Model Mayhem, haven't heard of Model Mayhem?
I have not.
Model Mayhem is like a model casting site, and you can go to Model Mayhem, and they have thousands of models all over the world, really, but covering the U.S. for sure, and they will indicate what kinds of things they do, whether it's still photography, fashion photography, film, and then they might also indicate whether nudity would be in the film, or they would do nude work. And by looking at their photos, you can also get an idea whether they're going to do nude work or they're going to have nude photos. So Model Mayhem is one source. So the actresses that I have used for that kind of work, one was a Playboy model. She was actually a cover girl for Playboy.
Oh, nice.
One was a stripper who has OnlyFans. Is it OnlyFans? Who has an OnlyFans page. And a third one, I didn't find out until later, was doing porn. I had no idea at the time that she was in my film, but I did find her because she was in, excuse me, Gimme Head, the Tale of the Cahuga Valley Bigfoot. So she was in that. She was in a film with one of my friends. And then it's really sad, but her life ended suddenly, and
wow.
The rumors were that she ended it herself. But she was actually doing some pretty heavy porn that still online today, even though she's gone. So usually the actresses that do this work, now Hollywood actresses, you pay them $40, $50, $60, $1 million, whatever it is,
yeah.
And so you're gonna get Margot Robbie's gonna do it. Yeah, she's gonna get paid though. But in terms of indie filmmakers, you've got to find, and you can find, girls that will do the work, but you have to pay them. So I don't pay any of my actors in any of my films except the actresses that go topless, and they have to be paid. And I think part of it is, I think it just part of it is a feeling of professionalism, that they're not just going out there and being naked to the camera. They're getting paid for it. They're doing real work. And these, they're really smart gals, and I've worked with the two that are in The Doll Collector, the uncensored version. I worked with them on two or three different films. With had a lot of fun.
But don't you think it's interesting that a lot of adult actresses are finding roles now in indie horror?
Yeah, who's the actress who got into real big trouble because she was like started off at age 16? I think she's yeah, Tracy Lords. I think she's not exactly sure, but I think she still makes film, but I don't think she does porn. But I do think that she gets into some indie horror and other. What?
Actually, she's in a lot. Ginger Lynn is in a lot of indie horror now. Also,
have you ever interviewed either of those two?
I have not. I would love to.
You just,
I'd love to
hit them up and see if they'll do it for you. You can never tell. I mean, some of these people are publicity hounds. And they'll do anything for a click.
Because I mean, like the biggest actress. I'm not going to drop her name on here, but like the biggest actress that's in indie horror. I mean, she started off in adult, and I think she still does it with OnlyFans. So I mean, it's indie horror has given actresses who were in the porn industry, I wouldn't say professional, but I mean they've given them more of a mainstream acting roles opportunities.
Yeah, because there's not, you can't stay in porn forever, and they got to do something beyond that. And some of them get into escorting work kind of stuff, but some of them get into making indie film, and I can't believe they're making tons of money at it, but I'm sure they're making. I mean, with indie films can have a budget of $50,000, $100,000 and still be called an indie film, and more than that, they're paying their actors and actresses, I'm sure.
I agree. Now you have you've turned out a lot of short films. Now, how do you come up with these ideas? How long? Like for instance, the Bone Collector. How long did it take for you from the concept with the idea to the actual getting it filmed? How long did that take?
Well, like for the Doll Collector.
The Doll Collector.
Say that, for example. I actually started writing it 3 years ago. I filmed the very first scene with the creepy old house with the blue lights in the windows and the delivery boy. I filmed that two years ago, and then I just got hung up with how am I going to do it, and then my cousin, actually my wife's niece and nephew were going to visit, so they were going to be in the film, and it'd just be a straight film, no topless actresses or anything. And I got back into, okay, I'm going to make this thing finally, and they canceled. So I said, I'm going to make this anyway. So I got the actresses that I've worked with before, because I try to work with actors that I've worked with before, and to call them back in, and it's been a pretty good strategy, and it's worked for me. So that took maybe 3 years. Pandemic, House of Bones, probably start to finish a couple months. I mean, just the idea, and then shooting the different scenes and editing it all together. That wasn't a long project at all. A couple of my longer films, like Gimme Head, The Tale of the Cauga Valley Bigfoot, which really I wanted it to be a feature film, but it turned out to be 37 minutes. So to be a feature film, it had to be all kinds of parallel plot lines,
Yeah.
backstories, and you'd have to know more about the characters and what they were doing when they went home. And just to do the straight story, it ended up essentially being a long short story, which I condensed a little bit down. So my best version, I've done it as short as 7 minutes, but my best version is about 30 minutes. But that didn't take a whole long time to put together. Certainly less than a year, a couple of months. I can't remember, but certainly less than a year. And then Roboob, the farting robot monster, was the next one. That's one thing. In my early movies, to me, the title was more important than almost anything else. So to start off with a title like Roboob, the farting robot monster, everything else just falls into place.
It really does.
And so does Gimme Head, the Tale of the Cuyahoga Valley Bigfoot. Oh, I've got to explain that title. It sounds worse.
Tell me that title. Yeah, tell me that.
Honestly, it sounds worse. I'm not sure if I intended it that way, because it's simply about Bigfoot was decapitating his victims. It was like Bigfoot saying, "Give me a head," and take it out. So yeah, it sounds sort of bad, but actually it's a child's story, except for the versions with the actresses that are topless.
Yeah.
It's an idea. My friend Rance came up with the idea that Bigfoot's afraid of boobs.
Really?
Yeah, that Bigfoot's afraid of boobs. So this team, they're college students. They're in the woods. They're going through in the woods, and the first gal, she's decapitated. That was interesting because I had to have two actors. One was lying with a green cover over her head, and the other was laying over here with a green cover over her body, so only her head, and was able to mash that together so it looked like the body and the head. Two hikers or something come along, and they're trying to report it, and they can't get through their phones, and the one says, "Hey, I think we're in a dead zone." Anyway, it was a good line at the time. It was a good line at the time. I think it was.
No, Logan.
So it did have it had two topless actresses in that one, but the way it worked out, Grant was at the restaurant that they all gathered at. He was like the guy at the counter, and he came up with this idea that Bigfoot's afraid of boobs. So they went out, and Bigfoot comes up, and the girl says, "Oh, everybody else, just run, run, run." And then she says, "Leave my friends alone." And she goes like this. And Bigfoot took off her head anyway. Bigfoot is not afraid of boobs.
So Logan, I have a question.
What's that?
Right now, I know it's tough when it comes to making even a full-length feature. Is it tough to make money or even turn a profit on short films right now?
I don't know. I haven't met anybody yet that makes money on making short films, but maybe I'm just not in the right circles. It's just tough because you're not making them for the market. You're not making them for Netflix or Amazon. Some people get, but Netflix or Amazon, they might take a compilation, maybe, perhaps, but they're not interested in short films for the most part. I mean, what do you do with a 5, 10, 20-minute film on Netflix? I mean,
yeah.
So I haven't tried to. I haven't made money. I try to make money. I've made DVDs. Tried to sell my DVDs. I've sold some, But my son came up. My son from California was out. I have two sons in California, but my older son from California was out about a week ago, and he suggested that I put everything that I make on Vimeo and just make it free. Don't charge. You can go to Vimeo and see any movie I've ever made, good, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and everything for free. And then put in at the same time, if you like these films, give me some support, by Venmo, or join my Patreon page. You don't have to, but if you like the films, support, join Patreon, shell out a $1 a month, $1 a month, $2 a month. I usually have any topless films that be $2 a month, at least $2 a month, to sort of keep it out of reach for kids.
Yeah.
This is, I shouldn't even be going in here. Talk about what's available to kids now.
Holy shit. Yes.
Did you know that Twitter is Twitter is a porn dispenser?
It is.
Big time. I never knew that.
I just found that out recently too, because I don't have Twitter, but I hear that there's so much fucking porn on Twitter. I had no idea.
I fell down a rabbit hole. There was a post. I follow the Ukraine war a lot, and so I'm reading everything about what's happening in Ukraine. And then somebody else posted something that was a little bit, risque, sort of. So I just went into that, and then when I got into that, I got into some other people posting into that Twitter account, and so I followed that. And by the time I got into that, it was nasty, and that's just
nasty shit. Shit. But I say it all the time, right? I'm 41, I'll be 42 at the end of the month. And I'm like, when it comes to, these kids got fucking smartphones. You literally have, I didn't have an internet in my house until I was damn near almost out of high school. My parents, my mom finally got a computer with internet, a gateway computer. But I could only imagine, Logan, if I had a fucking smartphone with Facebook, Instagram, online dating sites, Twitter, you can watch you can watch porn for free now on God knows how many sites. I would probably be fucking dead. I would probably be dead. I mean, I would have probably be in a bad situation because everything's available. As a kid, as a person, as an adult, literally everything is available right in your freaking hand. That is scary.
Yeah, it is. Well, anyway, getting back to this idea, my son said, put everything on Vimeo, and YouTube is Vimeo and YouTube just have a little different flavor to them, and filmmakers, as a rule, tend to work through Vimeo. Maybe I'm wrong about that. It sort of just seemed that way, but I work with Vimeo, but I do have a couple YouTube channels, and I've got to swing back into them, clean them up, and what I mean, clean them up, add better content, get rid of the bad content, and work them a little bit better. But whether it's YouTube or Vimeo, right now it's Vimeo, you can go to my Vimeo, which is actually, everything is Lone-Buzzard-Filmworks, so it's vimeo.com/Lone-Buzzard-Filmworks. You just don't have, you can see it on the screen, you just don't have those spaces, so it's all run together as Lone-Buzzard-Filmworks, all one word. And you go there and you can see what kind of films I make, if you like them. If you don't like them, that's fine. But if you like them, and if you want to see me make more, you can support me by Venmo. Just send me some cash, or join Patreon. And either way gets me some things to work with. Because right now, most of my movies I make for $100 or a couple $100. I am super low budget. I mean,
micro budget.
I am micro budget. I mean, my budget is SD cards and craft when I get the actors together. I go out and buy cookies and pop. So it's just early on in 2016 when I did my first films, I got my camera, which was a Canon 3 Ti, I guess was called Canon 3 Ti. I think that's right. I got my green screens. I got my lights. I got my editing program, which I use Final Cut Pro 10, and I bought it rather than going into the annual subscription service type thing. I just out and out bought it 10 years ago. I haven't updated it yet. There probably some neat features that would be useful, but I can do most of what I need to do right with Final Cut Pro 10. So once I have all of the basic stock, basic tools, the only thing I'm paying for is I'll pay if I have a topless actress. Got to pay for that. I'm not going to tell you how much because there's different people, and I actually pay different amounts, and I don't want to say how much I pay, and because they may whoever I work with may be on a different basis with somebody else. I had no idea. Maybe more, maybe less. Who knows? But I have to pay for that. SD cards and food is basically all. Sometimes, and not too frequently, I'll pay for a location. But even then, it's I think I've only paid for a location one time, and then it was sort of after we took over a restaurant in Cleveland, on the west side of Cleveland, and it was a little coffee shop, and we said, we'll make a film. Can we do that? Oh yeah, you can make a film. We ended up spending the whole day, and I wore them out. And when we left, they said, "Can I give you something, for your time and patience?" And they said, "That'd be nice." And so I gave them $100, and maybe that wasn't enough, but that's what I gave them. At least it was if it wasn't the money, at least it was the thought.
Thank you. Yeah.
But anyway, I don't spend much money on my films. What I do is I just want to get them out there where people see them. So I spend more money on film submissions and actually going to film festivals than in making my films. For some strange reason, they have an audience. I don't know. I get invited back year after year to some of these places. So they must like them somehow.
Now, so what's the most unique film festival that you've personally been to, Logan?
Well, the two that I like the best, one is, and I'm going to stand up. I don't know if you can see this.
Oh, I like that.
This is the festival shirt for Puff, which is the Philadelphia Unnamed Film Festival. I love that festival. I was there the first year they started. I've been back for 7 years. I'm going back I think it's 2 weeks. Is it 2 weeks? I'm going back again in another 2 weeks. I love Puff. There's a great festival in Spain called Beta Fest, BAIDEFEST. I'm trying to learn Spanish. I'm not sure what BAI stands for, as a matter of fact, but D is, of course, of, and the festival is FS is festival. So Beta Fest. It's a great film festival. I learned I was a trash filmmaker when I was invited to the Fantastische Trash Film Festival Kassel in Germany, and they celebrate trash film. And actually, at least the last time I looked, you can't find an entry for trash film in Wikipedia in English, but there is a German entry for trash film. It's a good entry of what it is, who's in it, examples, all that kind of stuff you might see on Wikipedia. So fantastic trash film in Cleveland, Ohio, because I'm from a little town between Akron and Cleveland, Ohio. And the two that I go to every year, I've never missed a year, is the International Indie Gathering, and they get people coming in from all over the world to the festival. It's a well run festival. They run at 2 screens at a time, and for I forget 4 days, maybe something like that. So they screen a lot of film, both features and shorts, and then the other one in Cleveland. And this festival so far has just taken about anything decent that gets submitted. They're not going to take everything, I'm sure, although they take anything that's pretty decent. And I have to sneeze again. I didn't quite make it. And that is Kinodrome. And Kinodrome has something to do with the earliest film projection techniques, where they had the horse, the images of the horse, and they spin this thing around and around, so you see the horse continuing to galloping across and across like that. So Kinodrome, Indie Gathering, Cleveland, both of those in Cleveland. Actually, one in New York I like a lot is the Philip K. Dick Science Fiction Music and Film Festival. And they also have a run by the same outfit, similar similar goals, and that's the Psychedelic Film Festival. They go in a little bit more into the psychedelic kind of stuff. Some experimental films, some films that are just blobs of color going across the screen, things like that. Psychedelic and the Philip K. Dick in New York City. So those are the film festivals that I go back to year after year after year, and like them quite a bit. And there's other ones, but I'm not. It's just not as frequent.
All right, Logan, where can everyone find you, my friend?
Pardon?
Where can everyone find you?
Find what? Those
find you. They'll find you on social media.
Twitter, Lone-Buzzard-Filmworks. I think my Twitter is Lone-Buzzard-Filmworks. And Instagram, I'm sure it's Lone-Buzzard-Filmworks. Vimeo, Lone-Buzzard-Filmworks. It's always one single word. I think on Facebook, I'm actor Logan Fry, because I started that earlier than I was doing film work. I was doing more background acting work. So that'd be actor Logan Fry. I should have made up some cards that I could flash up on the screen, but
well, Logan, I'm going to help you out. Everybody, go down into the description. I'm going to have the links. I'm going to have the links to Logan's Vimeo, as well as the links to his Patreon and his show's social media. So definitely click on and check out his work, and also support. Logan, I'm pretty sure I'm going to run into you at one of these film festivals. So I live in Baltimore, and I go to a lot of the film festivals in Philadelphia.
Balticon. I went to Balticon 2 years, and I love the guy that handled the Balticon. Has sort of like a film segment where they showed film, and loved that. And if your film was accepted, you basically got to go to the whole Balticon, and it didn't cost anything, and there wasn't even a submission fee. Now the way they got a new outfit, or new guy who's the director in Balticon is looking at it differently. So now for film submissions, the submission fee is some ridiculous thing like $70-$80 or something like that. Wow. And so you're almost prepaying to go to the festival. So I haven't tried Balticon. Couple things that I haven't mentioned, and one is that one of my earliest influences was Don Doler in Baltimore. And
Really?
yeah. I watched about everything I could get my hands on, from Night Beast, and he had all of these alien movies. I think one was called Alien. And I really liked the way he put his movies together. It was independent filmmaking, very, very low budget. And I tried to, my first film, Gimme Head, The Tale of the Cog Valley Bigfoot, was trying to sort of replicate that same kind of concept. It didn't look the same, but the idea behind it, I hope, was somewhat similar to the Beast. And he had Don Doler himself didn't like the topless actresses so much himself, but he had a executive producer, can't remember his name, but the executive producer said, Don, you got to have it in your films. And they called them Triple B films: Blood, Boobs, and Beast.
Yes.
Triple
Yes.
B. I don't know if you've ever heard Triple B.
I have. Yes.
Okay. And I don't think he was, from what I can gather from reading things and seeing it, he wasn't so into it himself. His executive producer is, and he has actors. I mean, he was making films back ages ago, and he has actors that are still making films today. And his main actor, and I wish I could remember his name, it was the guy that was the creepy guy that was I can't remember. I just can't remember his name. But one of the actresses I worked with I think it was an actress I worked with in my film, said she had just been in a film with him, and he was still making movies. I wish I could recall his name, but again, sort of, it wasn't something I prepped for coming into this. The other thing about my movies, and I don't know why, they're not horror in the really gruesome sense, like Saw or Centipede. Is it Centipede?
Human Centipede.
Human
Centipede.
That kind of stuff. I couldn't do it. So it's the horror that I do. A lot of decapitation, stabbings, things like that. Hit with the head with clubs and things like that. But
that's fun horror.
Really gruesome stuff.
Yeah, it's that fun horror. It's not that gruesome. I'm not a huge. Well, I like it every once in a while, but like I like fun horror. I like fun horror, and I like fun kills. I don't like that mean spirited horror anymore. I mean, it's too much.
Yeah, so that's what I go for. And the other thing is, maybe I shouldn't say this because it'd be bad luck for me, but I don't worry about death so much. I mean, I'm 80 years old. I'm at the door. But, people I've known have died in 50s and 60s, so 80 is, I've already outlived my father by 12 years or something like that. But I really don't worry about it too much. But in my films, I'm always murdering myself. So in Doll Collector, I'm the actor who is, I had to shave, I normally have a beard, and I had to shave my beard off to be the doll collector, to be that character. It's starting to grow back in. Doll Collector and Pandemic House of Bones. That was that was based on one of the Adam Neville concepts of just using phrases to describe things. So it's one set of phrases after the other. He's dreaming of the vultures and his wife's leg in the cistern and the body, corpse being dragged across the barn floor, rats in the walls, now dead. But at the end of that, my wife has already died, and she comes back as a ghost and smothers me. And the end of the story is that this. I say there's nothing more loving than a dead wife who comes back to take the heart and breath and soul of her living husband.
Well, listen, I am going to be watching The Dog Collector and Pandemic House of Bones, and I am going to. By the way, everyone, look forward in the next couple of weeks of my review on Short Film Sunday. I'm going to be doing a review of one of the two coming up soon, so definitely check that out.
Check out if you had to look at a couple films. Those two are good. I don't have those on the Vimeo yet because they're still in festivals submission stage, and some
I'm going to do the Patreon. I'm going to do the Patreon.
But okay, if there's anything that you want to excerpt and put in the middle of whatever whatever this interview turns out to be, if you want to take out any kind of excerpts or anything that you think is worth bringing into it, you're absolutely free to do that. And so those two are more recent one. The Pandemic House of Bones I did 2 years ago. 2020, about 4 years ago. But it was my own voice as the narrator, and I just decided that the narrator from The Doll Collector, his voice was so spectacular in a creepy sort of ghoulish way that I asked him to do the narration for Pandemic House of Bones. So it's a slightly different voice, but it's the same voice actor, and I think I like it a whole lot better because it's just a better voice than I could give it. So those two, and then Give Me Head, and that's actually on the Vimeo page. And then give Road Movie, the Farting Robot Monster, a look too.
I'm look at that show. That sounds amazing.
I actually got involved in another film, and there's a Canadian producer up in Canada, in Toronto. And I know you know his name. I can't remember it. But he did a compilation of this little horror clips, and Farces of Death was the name.
Oh my goodness! You're talking about Adam Wright. Right.
Yeah, Adam Wright.
Love Adam. I love Adam.
Oh, you do?
Yes, I love Adam.
Well, he got about 7, 8 people together, and he asked me if I wanted to be part of this compilation. So I said yes, and he put it together, and it was really great. And I asked him, I said, Adam, can I submit this to film festivals? And he said, yeah, sure, go ahead. I said, can I edit it? Because it's a little bit too long. So I had 2 edit versions, a longer version and a shorter version, because film festivals, once you get past 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes, you got to be really super good to go in because you're taking such a big block of time. If you can make it shorter, you're going to do better. So I've submitted that, both versions, both edits, sort of a re-edit, and it's gone pretty well at film festivals. It's gotten it into a bunch. I think I've surprised Adam with it, as a matter of fact. He says, "Who are these crazy people looking at?"
Watch my. By the way, one of my best interviews is with Adam. Definitely watch that. We actually talked about Farces of Death. I didn't know you were a part. I said, if you get a chance, definitely anybody watch my interview with Adam. It's one of my best interviews, and we actually talk a little bit about Farces of Death in that too. So definitely check out that interview. That's a fun interview.
That had to be recent because this was just for the last 6 months or so, maybe.
I want to say with like the beginning of the year. Yeah, it's like the beginning of the year.
When was that interview? I'll try to look that up.
I want to say it was in January or February.
So it was really early in the year. I got to go scroll way down to find that. Is there a search function on?
Yeah, if you type in Farces of Death, I think it will come up. If you go on my channel and just type it in, boop, boop, boop. Actually, it's not good. Listen, It's going to be on the end of this video. Listen, once you finish watching this video, there's going to be a little tag, and it's going to click on it, and it will show you. I think it's a 2-part interview too. It was a long interview, but it's so good. It's so good.
He's making movies, doing his own little monthly film festival thing.
Yes, I was supposed to go down. Yeah, I was supposed to go down to the film festival in Toronto. His I think it's called Terrible Fest. Yeah, Terrible Fest. I was supposed to go down to Terrible Fest this year, but didn't happen. But I'm definitely going to do Terrible Fest next year.
I did. I had a couple. At Terrible Fest. There's another one actually in I think Montreal, Cabana-san.
I've heard one.
Cabin of Blood.
Okay.
Cabin of Blood, and then French is Cabana-san. And the guy that puts that thing together is a guy a lot like Adam. Is really, really interesting and really free spirit. That was real good. And I did have a film in Terrible Fest. At least one of my films were at Terrible Fest. I think I got my laurels and stuff for him.
Well, listen, Logan, this has been an absolute blast, man. Listen, you're more than welcome to come on my show anytime to promote anything. Everybody, get your asses over down to that description box and go ahead and check out his work on Vimeo as well, and also too.
Yeah, you can watch them for free. If you don't like them, that's fine. If you do like
them for free,
yeah.
And also, like I said too, look out for my review. I'm just going to randomly pick one, Logan. I'm going to do a review of one of your movies
now
for Short Film Sunday.
The one thing on Patreon too is I'll put some things sort of behind the paywall I gave it Dario Argento, and who did Pumpkin? No, it wasn't Pumpkinhead. No, it wasn't. Oh, Onion. No, it wasn't Onionhead. Oh, the L.A. film director who does really well. Oh, did Northern Lights or something like? Is it Northern Exposure? No. Anyway, I have excerpts, actually full films from Dario Argento. It's going back a couple years, and he was, a real influence on another influence on the way I make films or the way I think about films. And so there's some of those things buried in there, and then some things about making films, and when I get this, if a film is accepted for a film festival, Film Freeway has this dumb little thing where the little balloons that go up like this. I don't know if you've seen things in confetti. You haven't seen those?
No.
Well, I always do a screen grab of those, video screen grab of those. I'll put those in there just, to tell my Patreon subscribers what I'm doing, what the films are doing. So, I don't even post every week. I try at least to get at least one or two a month, but over time, it sort of builds up. And I'm going to post Doll Collector and Pandemic House of Bones. I'll post those two on there for subscribers, not for free, but for subscribers. You can see those there as well. So,
love it.
Yeah.
Well, listen, everybody, thank you for coming to the Horror Realm. I'm Travis Bruce.
And I was there.
And
I was there.
I'm going to see you guys next time. You take care.
Thanks, Travis.